Hey, happy Friday, week 9, college football. We are live here. Lance is locked. Hopefully, some of you guys jump on tonight, ask questions, ask about different game sides, totals, all that good stuff. But welcome in on a Friday night. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us. And so I've already got Saturday games ready to roll. I've got 11 plays. We haven't released them yet because I might add 2 totals. I've got 11 sides right now, though. So those are up and available, and we will get into these games. I will talk about some games that I eliminated early, and really, we can talk about whatever you guys want here as we get ready for some Friday night college football, and we get ready for game 1 of the World Series, which we have available for you guys. We've got a side up on that right now. So if you like playing the baseball, which we've been really hot over the last couple of months, it is a great opportunity for you guys to get on and little World Series action. Game 1. As a Dodger fan, I'm not as excited as I used to be because this is, I want to say, becoming kind of old. But when you've got a $509 million payroll, the expectation should be not only getting back to a World Series, but winning another championship. And the Dodgers are the first team to get back to a World Series, the defending champion since the Phillies in 2009. Phillies obviously didn't close the deal back then. And the last repeat champion of Major League Baseball way back in 98 through 2000 when the Yankees went for a little three-peat action there. But it just doesn't get done a lot. Obviously, in Major League Baseball, really difficult to repeat. But we'll see how this thing plays out. Dodgers, tons of rest. Blue Jays going on semi-short rest, considering they went a full 7 against the Mariners before the playoffs. I thought the Mariners would win the whole thing. I was wrong on that. But we do have a play-up available. Game 1 World Series. We've got 2 games in college football. We've got a side on Cal, Virginia Tech in the ACC. Still weird to say that. And we have got a side in the Mountain West on Boise and Nevada. That game kicking off 9 o'clock Central Time, CBS Sports Network. Again, if you have any guys have any questions, comments, you want to get into sides, totals, any leans on any of these games, teasers. We've got a super tease that we talked about earlier on the next round. If you watch us on the next round, I've got a 3-team teaser that, again, they're teasers for a reason. But this is a 3-team teaser that is not going to lose for you guys. So I'll throw that out. We'll get into that. We'll get into the 11 o'clock games, the early window for tomorrow. Anything you guys want to talk about tonight, we can jump on that as well. To let you know, again, the 11 plays that we have got right now that we will definitely release for tomorrow, unless something miraculous, happens overnight and, we get in the rest or somebody gets sick and it's a major scratch. But we've got 2 games in the early window tomorrow. You guys know I don't love 11 o'clocks, but we do have 2 plays there, both in the SEC. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 2:30 window games. And then we have 3 primetime games tomorrow night. In total, just looking at the SEC, the matchups, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 SEC matchups up and available for tomorrow. And there are some major, major games. Like, I really believe Ole Miss, Oklahoma, if Ole Miss wins, they are in. Like, when you look at this on paper, the only top 25 team, the only ranked team they're going to see moving forward is Oklahoma this weekend in Norman. So if Ole Miss wins this game, they're in. Oklahoma, obviously, they've already taken that loss to Texas. If they were to lose this with what they've got left, may be very difficult for Oklahoma still to get in. This is a game they really need to win at home. But if Ole Miss wins this, I think you can lock in the Rebels and Lane Kiffin getting to his first ever college football playoff as a head coach. The other playing game to me, Missouri-Vanderbilt. I think if the winner of this game, I don't care if it's Missouri or Vanderbilt, the loser drops to 2 losses. Tough for them to navigate the rest of the way and avoid that 3rd loss. But I think the winner of this game, moving to what at that point 7-1 or 8-1, whatever it is, 7-1. Missouri Vanderbilt, the winner of that game, I believe, is in, and that is my favorite game of the day tomorrow. By the way, a lot of people are saying this is a difficult game. I think both of these teams super legit. If you're an Alabama fan, you've seen Alabama struggle with Vanderbilt, and then you saw Jam Miller take of the house. We had Alabama that day. We were fortunate to get the cover. But look, Vanderbilt was a tough out for them. You saw what Vanderbilt was able to do to LSU last week as the favorite. And then Missouri. To me, the most difficult game Alabama has played to date was in Columbia against Missouri. Pribula, though, this is a guy that wasn't turning it over early, and he's got 4 picks his last 2 games against Alabama and Auburn. So turnovers for Missouri have become kind of a problem. This is strength on strength, though, if we're just looking at this specific game with this Missouri rush defense. So freaking good against the run, only allowing opponents 2.9 yards per rush. That is 12th best in the FBS. And on the other side, Vanderbilt with Diego Pavia, his ability to do a lot of different things. One of only 5 FBS quarterbacks right now with 1,500 yards passing and 400 yards rushing. So he continues to impress. What he is doing for Vanderbilt, next level, never been done at the quarterback position. And their ability to run the football, averaging over 6 yards a carry, which right now is currently 4th best in the FBS. But again, strength on strength. Missouri really good at stopping the run. Vanderbilt really good at running it. Vanderbilt at home right now, this number finally ticked up to 3. It's hovered at 2.5. I saw it as high as 3.5, but that side 3 and 52.5, 2:30 ESPN game. Cannot wait. And this is where it gets difficult. Some of these windows for SEC, like for Alabama fans, obviously you're going to focus on Alabama, South Carolina, but Missouri Vanderbilt is massive. Texas has become a train wreck of a team that I think people want to watch because they can't believe how bad this offense is with Arch Manning. And like, this is no exaggeration. I mean, 81st scoring offense right now for Steve Sarkisian. Was asked this week in press conference if he was going to relinquish the play calling duties. I think that's a little premature. I think Sark, one of the best offensive coordinators, best offensive play callers in all of college football, but defense is carrying Texas, sitting at 5-2 right now. I don't think anybody's got any expectation, but I do think Texas still ranked 22nd heading to Starkville. If they win out, obviously they're in, but I think they could even lose possibly a game and 3 losses get in with that brand. But this offense has got to get better. They're only averaging 26.7 points per game. They're not covering their last 9 out. They're 2-7 against the number. Mississippi State, I will say this about Jeff Levy. It's an improved product. I said it weeks ago they wouldn't win again. I will stick with that. They're a 7.5-point dog right now to Texas, but they have been covering 7-1 their last 8 under Levy. So Mississippi State has been covering. So you do have that if you're a State fan. That's just one of the games. We do have that game available, by the way. Again, we've got 11 plays up and ready to roll tomorrow. We've got 3 plays tonight on this Friday night, trying to set the table for a big, big weekend in college football. Jump on board, win with us at Lance's Lock, lanceslock.com. Free play every single day. Again, we've got side game 1 of the World Series coming to you from Toronto. Dodgers, a road favorite there, well rested, going against a red-hot Blue Jay team. Vlad Guerrero, nobody hotter at the plate right now than Vlad. So we've got that, and we have the ACC game kicking at 6:30 tonight. Lane Stadium, which used to be such a fun place to watch a college football game, especially on a Thursday night. I don't know why, but those Thursday nights in Lane Stadium in the ACC when Virginia Tech was really, really good, it was just a different environment. I don't have a lot of expectation for the atmosphere in the Cal Virginia Tech Friday night game in Blacksburg. We shall see, though. We do have a winning side up and available right now. And again, the late night game, Boise and Nevada, West Coast, 9 o'clock CBS Sports Network. We have a side available there. If you guys want to jump on, I don't even know if comments are working. I think they are. But if somebody would just throw something out, tell me I suck. Tell me we're going to get an 11-0 day tomorrow. Just anything to make sure the comments are working, because knowing me, you guys know technically challenged, I didn't hit the right button to see these comments. But I would love for you guys to jump on and ask really anything. So to set the table, NFL, we have been crushing 25-9 through 7 weeks of the NFL. We got off to a rough start last night. We only had 1 play. We had the under in Vikings Chargers, and Cam Dicker comes on and kicks a field goal with 1.5 minutes to go. And that game goes over. It hits on 47. We had the under 44.5. We did have the over last night. Georgia State, Alabama, or South Alabama, that was an easy over. So we're 3-0 to start the week in college football. So a really good week, good start to the week here in college football, getting ready for week 9. Again, we've got 2 plays up. Monty, thank you. Thoughts on Kansas and Kansas State? It is a game, the old Sunflower State, that I did avoid. It's a game that I've always been interested in because it is obviously a rivalry game. 11 o'clock TNT. Still can't get saying TNT for college football. Can't wrap my head around that. Kansas State has absolutely dominated this, though. They've won 16 consecutive games over KU. Kansas is an interesting team to me because I thought a couple of years ago under Lance Leopold, they would be much improved with a healthy Jalen Daniels. Now, they hadn't been able to really keep him healthy has been one of the problems. This number has been back and forth. It has gone down to 2.5, but it's sitting 3.5 right now with a total of 59.5. And your favorite is KU, which is interesting based on the fact that they have had 0 success against Kansas State. Something going on with Kansas State. I mean, it's one thing. I thought Avery Johnson would be much better this year. Dylan Edwards being banged up in the backfield has changed the dynamic of this team. He got hurt week 1 or week 0, I should say, over in Ireland against Iowa State. He hasn't been 100% since. But more so for Chris Klieman, one thing you can always count on with Chris Klieman and his teams at Kansas State are really good defenses. This defense is 90th in scoring defense. Now, not only have they dominated Kansas State in this series, they've covered 11 of the last 16 in those 16 wins. So they're winning, they're covering, but their last 13 out, aside from this rivalry, they're 4-9. So Kansas State kind of in a tailspin right now, sitting at 3-4. Kansas at 4-3. Neither one of these teams are going to be where they want to be at the end of the year because, as you can say, most years in the Big 12 going into the Big 12, legitimately 8 to 10 teams have an opportunity to get to that title game, win that, and play their way into the college football playoff. But if I was going to play Kansas State, Kansas at this particular point, I think I would play Kansas and lay the points. I think this is like a Super Bowl for them. They're playing better than Kansas State. They're a 3.5-point favorite. I don't like laying the 3.5. I would love that thing to be under 3. So maybe wait and see if it ticks down. I don't foresee that thing going up at all. But if I was going to play that one, I would lay it with the Jayhawks, and I would lay the 3.5 and looking for Jalen Daniels. I actually thought about starting him tomorrow, and I ultimately didn't, but I could still change it in fantasy on DraftKings. Again, for any of you guys, if you love the NFL fantasy football, I'm in a league. My team absolutely sucks this year, but I enjoy just playing the one-off early games and late games, 2 different fantasies every Saturday on DraftKings with the college football. I think it's awesome, a lot of fun, but I did take a look at Jalen Daniels, not overly pricey for a quarterback with a total of 55.5 against a Kansas State defense that's leaking a little bit right now, giving up 27 points per game. Monty, appreciate that question. Obviously, this is working. I don't know if it's difficult wherever you guys are watching. We have 118 live right now. We appreciate you guys jumping on. Again, sides, totals, anything you guys want to talk about, any of these line movements, I'm here for you. That's what we're doing. We're trying to kick off tonight. Big night. Would love a 3-0, 2-0 in college football. Get off to a big start in the World Series with 1-0 on that side there and get everything ready for at least 11 plays tomorrow in college football. We've got Ole Miss, Oklahoma. That is going to be up and available. I think I figured out Auburn, Arkansas. I've got a side on that. That game kicks at 11:45 SEC Network. We've got to play with Minnesota, Iowa at 2:30. We've got to play with Western Michigan and Miami of Ohio at 2:30. Sticking with half MAC, we've got to play Toledo, Washington State in Pullman. Very strange matchup there. On the CW at 2:30. Also, Missouri Vanderbilt at 2:30. I've already told you guys that. At 3 o'clock, a little bit later, ESPNU, Oklahoma State, Texas Tech, and at 3:15 SEC Network, Texas and Mississippi State. We've got a side there. And then our night window, we've got 3 games in the prime times, 6 o'clock, Stanford at Miami, ESPN. A&M in Tiger Stadium against LSU, 6:30 ABC. And then finally out on the West Coast in Big 12, Houston and Arizona State, 7 o'clock ESPN2. Again, if you guys want to talk about any of these games, let's get into it. Questions, comments, and tell your friends. We're going to be back on in the morning. We're going to consistently do this if we're not out of town. Last week was a mess. We went for Bud Light, our presenting sponsor, on the next round. We went to a place called the Rabbit Hole, really cool little venue right there on the Strip. We did our show later than we normally do, normally 9 to 12 Central Time every single day, me, Ryan Brown, Jim Dunaway. But we moved it back 11 to 2 just to give the kids opportunity to get in there, get a little more atmosphere and a little drinking. With that said, stayed in Tuscaloosa on Friday night, was unable to do this show on Friday, or just really didn't have a place to do it at that particular time. And then Saturday, get up. We've got a bunch of friends heading to a tailgate. I was going to do it. We were in a game day condo. A friend of mine let us use it for a couple of days, and they had just gotten it completely, really redone. Awesome place, but the internet was acting a little wacky, and I don't know if it was a bunch of people on there. Anyway, I was unable to jump on and do a show last Friday or Saturday morning, but not only will we do one right here tonight, we will do one tomorrow morning as well. So we're going to try to be more consistent with this on Fridays and Saturdays. I don't know if we're on YouTube or not. I know we are on X though. So any questions or comments you guys have, let us know. Monty, if no one is tossing out games, I will. And Monty, you can keep firing them. How about Virginia, UNC, or Washington, Illinois? We'll get into both of them. So the Virginia, UNC, and I'll get to my super tease. That is one of the three sides that I would put in there. Virginia is playing too well at this particular point, and they are laying 10.5 in Chapel Hill against an awful North Carolina team that is sitting at 2-4. Virginia, give Tony Elliott a lot of credit. They've been patient with him. I really don't know what an expectation for Virginia football is. I do remember, this is going to date myself, way back in 1990, watching a 2:30 ABC game. It was in Charlottesville, and it was number 1 versus number 2 Virginia and Georgia Tech. So to me, it has been almost that long. In 1995, when Virginia snapped Florida State's 29 straight ACC win streak, that was a pretty good Virginia team too. So it's been hit or miss, but it's been really bad as of late. But I give Tony Elliott a lot of credit. They are knocking on the door of being a top 15 team, sitting currently right now in the AP at 16, and they're 6-1. Okay, with that said, UNC has been awful on defense, giving up right at 30 points per game, which is 109th in scoring defense. They've been worse on offense. This is the 124th scoring offense, averaging less than 19 points per game in the ACC. Like, I can't even explain how bad they have been. They've lost 14. No, that's not right. They're 1-10 against the spread their last 11 home games. That's where I was going right there. So not only are they losing, they're not covering. And on the other side, this is Virginia's best start since 2007. The offense is popping. They're averaging right at 40 points per game, and they've covered 4 of their last 5. So not only is Tony Elliott winning games for Virginia fans, he's also getting into the window and cashing those tickets. I would lay the 10.5. That is such a layman play. I completely avoided it because right now, it is heavy money on Virginia. According to this one particular site, the money's pretty split, but I find that hard to believe. Unless you're getting some of the sharp money and they believe North Carolina is finally going to show up. I have got no desire to back North Carolina. I'm laying it or don't play it. That's for me, Virginia minus the 10.5. But I would put on one leg of that 3-team teaser. Virginia minus 0.5 against North Carolina looks really, really appealing. Washington and Illinois, another game that I did avoid. Washington's been hard to figure out. Damon Williams is going to be one of the best quarterbacks in college football next year. On a given Saturday, he is going to be one of the better quarterbacks in college football this year. But you just got to figure out what Damon Williams you're going to get. And on the other side, this Illinois team is pretty damn good. And not only are they winning games under Brett Bielema, sitting currently in the top 25 at 5-2, but they're also covering. Right now, Bielema's on a kind of a roll. He has covered 9 of his last 11 out. You look at this Washington team, they can score points. 35th right now in scoring offense, averaging right at 35 points per game. but they've been shaky against the number. 3-6, their last 9 under Jedd Fisch. I kind of like Illinois on the road here. I mean, you got 2 5-2s. I think Illinois is more of a balanced overall team, so I think I would play the Illini plus a 3.5 again. I stayed away from it. That is one of the better home fields let's say this. West of the Mississippi, one of the better home fields out there, or one of the best home fields out there, is Husky Stadium. 2:30 on a Saturday, so 12:30 kick for them in Seattle. Probably not as wild as it normally is. And this is kind of a body clock game, I guess, for Illinois. Not really. I guess it's 2:30 Illinois time. So the body clock game that we are looking at, well, last week it was Florida State. That did affect Florida State, or Florida State just sucks right now. But the body clock game right now is UCLA and Bloomington, and that is a freaking big number. And I actually took a look at laying the points with Indiana, but I didn't. But back real quick, yeah, Washington, Illinois, I would play the dog there. So I think I am going to lay up with Kansas, and I am going to lay it with Virginia, but I'm going to take the dog. Washington, Illinois, Monty. I appreciate the questions. 150 of you guys on here. If any of you want to talk about any of these games, throw it out there. Again, we're 25-9 to start the NFL season. We're 3-0 to start the college football week 9. We hit Tuesday night. We hit Wednesday night. We hit last night. So we're rolling into the weekend on the college slate. We're still looking for our first ever perfect day in college football. We've had a couple of solid days, a couple of solid Saturdays. Saturday has been our biggest Achilles heel in football up until this point, up until week 9 of the college football season. Last Saturday, we were 5-4. We were cruising to a 7-2. We've been really, really close. I love our 11 plays that we've got up right now. Again, I'm working on 2 totals. If I don't actually release those, I'll give them to you guys in the morning. Kind of 50-50 on it. I've gotten to a point where – and if you've been with us at Lance's Lock, we've been doing this for 12 years. I mean, we've had as many as 17 plays on a Saturday. I like to limit it a little bit more. I know there's a lot of you guys out there that love to spray the board. But, sitting at 11 right now, taking it up to 13, I mean, I can digest that, but getting more over 13 is difficult. So I'm just not sure if we are going to throw that out there. Do you think LSU can cover? I think LSU can cover. But I am to the point where I don't think LSU's offense is going to turn the corner, much like Texas. So if LSU is going to make a run at all, and it starts now. I mean, there is no margin of error for this LSU team. They're going to have to do it with defense. And unfortunately for Brian Kelly, this offense just isn't where anybody thought it would be. And I think a lot of people believed with Nussmeier coming back and just all of the experience he has had that the outcomes would be much better, and they just haven't been. I mean, LSU is still ranked. They're 5-2. When you look at the losses, quality loss in Oxford to Ole Miss, quality loss in Nashville to Vanderbilt. So they're not bad losses. This offense is just completely off. Now, here's what I will say. If you've been watching college football long enough, obviously this is an SEC rivalry game now. This was a rivalry before A&M ever entered this league. So they have played a ton of these matchups, and LSU has really dominated in Baton Rouge, 29-8-1 all time versus A&M at home. And you start to look at, what they've been able to do against A&M as far as the spread. They've won 9 of the last 13. Nussmeier, again, has struggled. Although he's thrown a touchdown in 13 straight games, this offense right now, 87th in scoring, only 25 points per game. And if you take away Southeast Louisiana, how about this? They haven't put 24 or more on anybody. So you take out that one win in the other 6 games, they haven't gone over 24 points. That is baffling. Now, on the other side, Texas A&M 7-0 for the first time since 1994. Mike Elko has done a great job. Marcel Reed wasn't making plays early, but they had enough athletes with Craver and Concepcion and Le'Veon Moss running the football and playing really good defense, opportunistic defense, turning teams over. He wasn't having to play great, but now he's kind of turned the corner. He's playing a lot better. But they just haven't been good on the road. They're not covering right now, 3-9, their last 12 out under Elko. The offense, though, I mean, you talk about a balanced team, 36 points per game for this offense, but how well will this travel? And there is familiarity between Elko and Brian Kelly. Go back to 2017. Mike Elko is the defense coordinator for Brian Kelly at Notre Dame. So familiarity right there. A&M, though, they've already beaten Notre Dame on the road. If they were to get a win here, it will be the first time they have beaten multiple ranked teams on the road since 2014. So it's been a while. AM just hasn't been good in these spots. And say what you want about Brian Kelly, and I brought this up on the next round this week. In home night games in Tiger Stadium, and I know a lot of you guys have been, and some people think it's overrated. I don't. I think it is one of the loudest venues I've ever been in my life. And when they're good, it's even louder. I still think LSU fans believe that they might be able to do something this year. Again, if they lose this game and drop to 5-3, they are done. Then we start looking at the Citrus Bowl, the Capital One Bowl, whatever that looks like. And BK, Brian Kelly's just going to continue to get more and more heat. This is a weird situation because you never see LSU, this version of LSU, underdogs at home. But catching 2.5, the total is 49.5. I hope I danced around that one for you, JB, because I do have a play on this game. Texas A&M, 7-0, the third-ranked team in college football. Pretty crazy where Elko's got them right now. And this would be a massive, massive win for the Aggies. And I think Aggie fans still aren't sold on how good are we. They've got fingers crossed because obviously they've never been to Atlanta for the SEC championship game. And this would be a major step in the right direction if they were to get there. They're looking for their first 8-0 start since 1992. And I bet there's a good majority of you guys on here that weren't even born in 1992. 174 of you watching right now. Again, I'll hang on for a few more minutes. If you have any sides or totals or anything you want to talk about, fantasy players this weekend, NFL, we can get into that. We will be back on in the morning. I'm shooting for 9 a.m. tomorrow. I'll send out a notification, a tweet on that, so you guys let me know. I want to remind you, 25-9 in the NFL so far. We're killing it. 3-0 to start this college football week. We've got a free play up and available right now. 3 plays tonight, 2 in college football in game 1 of the World Series. Those are up and available right now. I am seeing a promo right now for the Heisman Trophy ceremony, Saturday, December 13th. That is hard to believe that we're only, 7 weeks away from that? And your Heisman favorite right now, I guess you could go a couple of different ways. Fernando Mendoza is there from Indiana. Ty Simpson is obviously one of the guys everybody's talking about. Other guys that can work their way in it, I think Julian Sayin is a guy that not a lot of people are talking about right now. I think Diego Pavia, if they continue to win, I think Pavia is a guy that people will talk about. Marcel Reed, if he was able to go into Baton Rouge and win that game tomorrow, you got to start talking about Marcel Reed. I think it's too late for Mateer with missing a game and then struggling since he's come back. Trinidad Chambliss kind of shit the bed in the fourth quarter last week. That talk's probably gone. Carson Beck with the 4 picks a week ago tonight. That's way died down. I don't know if you can have one off game like that and still get back in the conversation. We do have a play on that Stanford-Miami game tomorrow night, though. Monty, thoughts on Michigan at State? So this was my upset alert. Now, full disclosure on this, I am way down on our upset alert, the way we scored. You get 5 points for the cover, but then you get the point differential if they went out. So, let's say Michigan right now going to East Lansing to take on the Spartans. They're a 14-point favorite. I think I actually got this at 14.5. So the 14.5 and the 5, I get 19.5 for an outright win. So I did need a double-digit dog to play this week. I like Michigan State. I'm going to tell you how much I like it. I did not give this game out. So obviously I don't have a ton of confidence. I mean, they've lost 5 straight by double digits. I thought Aiden Childs would be much better than this. I watched them against USC, and USC controlled the whole game, but there was a fumble to start the second half. And Michigan State got it in plus territory, scored. That was kind of the difference in the game. So they lost by 14 to SC. They're getting 14 here at home. Rivalry game. Michigan's won 3 straight in this series. But, there was a time Michigan State absolutely dominated. I forgot what the year was. It was like 2006. It was during Mark D'Antonio's time where Michigan State was really the kryptonite for Michigan. I just, Justice Haynes, how healthy is he? The other thing, Bryce Underwood, I think is going to be really good. He's just not really polished yet as a passer. So I could see a situation where he goes, turns it over a couple of times. If you don't have a healthy Justice Haynes, and Jonathan Smith is really focusing on stopping that run. Charles has got a lot of experience at quarterback. So this could be one of those weird games. Week in, week out, you guys know this. The college football world we live in, we are going to see double-digit upsets every single Saturday in college football. It's just trying to identify those, and if you can put together one of these, and again, I'm against parlays, I'm against teasers, but I'm going to give you guys this super tease before I get out in a second. But if you can find one of these 3-4 leg parlays and you can include one of these big, massive dogs to really take it up, like money line right now, you can get Michigan State plus 425. You tag that in a 14 parlay with 3 other just side minus 110 bets, you can have a pretty appealing payoff there. Again, the value you get on a parlay, I mean, if you're playing it for fun, which you guys should be playing for entertainment purposes, not necessarily to pay your mortgage, then maybe it's worth taking a flyer. But if you can identify some of these double-digit dogs to win outright, good luck. But it's going to happen each and every week. And I'm trying to see if we've already got a double-digit dog that has won outright this week. We haven't. I think we've got all favorites, actually. South Alabama, Missouri State, Delaware, Western Kentucky was a 5.5-point dog. They did upset La Tech. But yeah, Kennesaw State, straight up favorite. Kennesaw State, by the way, we did back them. The team's got pretty damn good, sitting at 5-2. Really surprised where they were a couple of years ago to where they are right now. Okay, before I get out of here, I'm going to go through what I believe is a teaser that will pay off for you guys tomorrow. I don't think you can lose this teaser. I'll take it for what it's worth. It is a teaser. And as I just said, there are going to be massive upsets each and every week in today's college football, including double-digit favorites. What I like to do on a tease, whenever I play them, which isn't a lot, NFL, they're much more appealing. There's a lot of local bookmakers that won't even let you play the 3-team 10-point teases in the NFL because there was a time where it hit each side almost every week. I mean, it was uncanny. But in college football, it's a lot different. Again, the parity in college football now, the upsets, pretty crazy. So I already gave you one, Virginia -0.5 in Chapel Hill. Mark it down. That is your first leg of this 3-team tease. And I apologize if I'm being redundant if you watch the show today, because I did give it out on the next round at some point. I think it was during our 4-down segment, because I asked the guys, both Dunaway and Brown, if one side of this tease doesn't hit, who's it going to be? So your first one right there, we've got Virginia -0.5 in Chapel Hill against UNC. Second part of the leg, I'm taking Alabama -1.5 in Columbia. I didn't play this game at all. This Mike Shula offense is disgusting. Probably should be arrested for what he's done to Lenore Sellers. It's not all his fault, but there's no playmakers. The offensive line is awful. They've given up 26 sacks, which is the second most in the FBS. The only team that has given up more, the Auburn Tigers, at 27. And if you watched a lot of Auburn fans, you know it. It's a porous offensive line. South Carolina's offensive line is just as bad. But this offense, 115 at scoring offense, only averaging 20 points per game with Lenore Sellers. I really don't care what Lenore Sellers does moving forward because of his just God-given ability in his ceiling, unlimited ceiling. He's going to go in the first round. So the production isn't there, but you still have a talent. You saw him in Tuscaloosa last year. It's still a pretty good defense. They've only given up 30+ one game this year, and that was against Vanderbilt. So I think Alabama fans get a little scared about that. But I go back last year where South Carolina really gave them a scare, and Bryant Denny lost the game 27-25. It was kind of the moment that South Carolina flipped it around and had a really strong second half to 2024. I think that kind of wakes up Alabama, much like Vanderbilt beating them last year. Alabama came to play. They ultimately covered that game. I don't know if Alabama gets the cover here, but I feel really good going into the bye that Alabama will get the win. They will find a way. Way too many weapons. Ty Simpson playing at too high of a level. Alabama -1.5, the second leg of the 3-team tease. And the final leg of the 3-team tease, this is such a layman. And speaking of Alabama, you saw Alabama beat and cover against this team. We gave you a 7-star. By the way, we've got one 7-star up and available tomorrow. So excited about that play. We hit it last week with Alabama. Okay, now this is dipped down a little bit. Tennessee's now 7.5 on the road against Kentucky. I'm taking Tennessee plus 2.5. So to recap it, and I'll get into Tennessee, Kentucky before I get out of here. So we've got Virginia minus 0.5 in Chapel Hill. We have got Alabama minus 1.5 in Columbia, and we've got Tennessee plus 2.5 against Kentucky. This would be one of those losses for Tennessee. Look, much needed for Mark Stoops. I mean, he is 0-4 in conference play for the first time since 2013, which was his first year in Lexington. But this would be an awful loss for Josh Heupel. I mean, they're still third in scoring offense, over 44 points a game. The defense hasn't been great. Seth McGowan probably will have some opportunities. Cutter Boley, I thought he outplayed Arch Manning in the loss in overtime last week. But they are 0-5 their last 5 against Tennessee. And here is the disturbing number. In their last 40 games, and Kentucky fans will try to sell you on this as a rivalry, Tennessee's won 37-40, 37-3 over the last 40 years in this matchup. All you got to do is win the game here. And I know history has nothing to do with this game, but I'm just talking about pure rosters. I'm talking about head coaching. And look, Heupel he's had a couple of mistakes. I mean, you go back Starkville, lucky to survive there. Some questionable calls, some questionable clock management there at the end in Starkville. Got away with that in overtime. And then last week going in, it looked like for a moment that game was going to be 16-14. It ends up being 23-7 at half. And, to me, that was the difference in the game, and it got us a cover. So we were completely happy with that. But I do think Tennessee, who has won 37-40, and look, they haven't covered as of late. They're 1-4 their last 5 out against the number. We don't have to have them cover here. We just have to have them win the game. So 3-team tease for you guys. I don't know if you like it. Virginia minus the half, Alabama minus 1.5, and Tennessee plus 2.5. That's your 3-team teaser. Jump on it. Don't blame me if you lose, though. I do like it a lot. I probably actually will play this myself. And I really don't play teasers. But there you go. Gave you that. 11 plays tomorrow, 3 tonight, free play every single day. Jump on board. If you just want to monitor us again, this is year 12. We are killing it, scorching the NFL 25-9 on the season. We are 3-0 this week in college football. We've got a winning record in college football. We haven't had a dominant Saturday yet. We're hoping that is tomorrow. We have dominated the last couple of months in Major League Baseball. Hopefully that continues. Game 1, World Series in Toronto between the Dodgers and the Blue Jays tonight. But a thanks, 213 of you guys jumping on. We went 37 and change. We'll be back on in the morning. Stay tuned. I'll tweet out exactly what time we're on. We're shooting for that 9 o'clock window. But again, we've got 11 plays for you. It starts early with 2 SEC plays in that first window. Then we've got 6 plays in the 2:30 window. And then we close it out with 3 plays in prime time. It's all available in lanceslock.com. Again, appreciate you guys all jumping on here. If you've got questions or comments, ways we can do this better, ways we can do it throughout the week, we're open to all suggestions. Love getting on here and talking to you guys about all the games. Look, be safe out there. One of my favorite things to do on a Friday night. It's going to be a little bit different. Doing steaks from the New York Butcher tonight. Going to build a fire out back and put on game 1 of the World Series. Enjoying this fall weather. I hope you guys do the same. Find you a really good bourbon. Sit back, relax, enjoy your week. You've worked hard all week. Enjoy these games. Unfortunately, I don't want to say this out loud. Our last college football Saturday in October is tomorrow, which is insane. But look, I'll be back on in the morning. So you guys be thinking about games, sides, totals you want to get into. I'll give you the games that I struck last. I'll tell you whether or not we add these 2 totals in the morning to make it a full 13 plays, or if we just stick with the 11 sides. And if we stick with the 11 sides, we will give you guys the 2 free totals tomorrow morning right here on Lance's Lock. Again, like, subscribe. We would appreciate that. And put together questions for me in the morning. And if you want to tweet, DM me, any of that kind of stuff, let me know. But thanks so much for joining us right here on Lance's Lock. You guys have a great Friday, and we will talk to you in the morning.